Arsenal didn't just beat Wigan, they ended the game before half an hour. This is your Arsenal versus Wigan match preview review. Welcome back to All About Arsenal, and today we have the Global Gunners podcast. Mr. Diego, how you doing, G?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Thanks for inviting me on the spot this wonderful afternoon over here in the US. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Just one of those days when we have a fixture that is quite enjoyable because
Mhm.
in recent times we haven't had that, bro. So
And
how was
yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah, just like you said in your introduction, I mean, the game ended in the first 30 minutes of the first half. Watching the second half was because, as fans, we just wanted to take solace in the fact that we haven't scored a lot of goals
Yep.
from our last game. So we wanted to just enjoy the first. At some point, guys were chatting, "Oh, are we gonna equal City's record, having 10 goals in a game?" So, but I guess Ateta is a man with conscience. He wants to leverage on the goal differences and just give the youth some game time. So and that's okay by me. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Looking at our opponents, Wigan, in their last 6 games, they've lost five and drawn one.
Mm.
They even sacked their coach, Ryan Lowe, after the bad performances, and they are currently 22nd out of 24 teams in League One. They clearly show that they are heading towards League Two with the kind of form they're showing. So the question would be, shouldn't we have done more, or do you think that the four that we give them was just more than enough for them to take?
Again, as a fan, there are two ways to answer this question: as a fan and as a um, foot, semi-professional football pundit. So, as a fan, with what you just listed, you would want a total trashing.
Mhm.
Again, they came in with a game plan without possession. In fact, I think they had five defenders at the back, so they were compact. They weren't coming to attack us. I think we had like over 75% possession in the first half. Um,
Mhm.
but somehow the good news was that we found a way to tear through those defenses, courtesy of Eberichi Eze, who has been under serious scrutiny in the past couple of games.
Yeah.
So he managed to, find those spaces in behind. But outside that, in the second half, we will think that we'll carry on with that momentum. But again, that's as a fan, you want to have more goals. But you're not playing with 11 dogs either. These guys have a punch,
Yeah.
and because we now took out the creative spark of Bukayo Saka, we didn't have any. We just had Eze to sort of be the only guy creating, and so when he was doubled down on, there was no outlets apart from what's his name, Gabriel Jesus, who will drop back and lose the balls in
Indeed.
very outrageous positions. So yeah, quite disappointing that the second half was a snooze fest, but we can
Yeah.
take we can take the win and say, yeah, you know what, we're in the fifth round, and that's good enough.
Okay, so let's go through the slides. Starting with the confirmed lineups. When you heard that Calafiori had missed out, because I know prior to the game starting, I didn't expect to see Bukayo Saka lead the team out.
Yeah.
In the lineup, it showed that it was Madueke that was going to be on the left hand side. But when we saw the reshuffle, we now had the news that Calafiori kind of pulled up shots in this game, just like what Saka happened in Leeds. What's your take on his injury situation, and do you think it's going to be quite bad?
That's a good question. You see, one thing this season is that Arteta has, because of what he has in his locker, because of how robust the squad is, he doesn't take chances. Some of these injuries, I'm sure you could risk. Like for example, Bukayo Saka's injury on a normal, like if it was last season, I'm sure he would have played that game. But we
Yeah.
didn't risk it. So we brought in Noni today. Calafiori limps out in the warm up, and then no chance taken. We have Incapi on the bench. We have Masus Skelly. I guess the only negative would be that every Arsenal fan, I dare say, would have wanted to see Masus
MLS.
Skelly in that number
Amen.
8 position. But
Yeah.
again, he played in a hybrid position, sort of inverting and coming back and defending, which again we have seen is not really his strongest point. So we were all disappointed that he didn't get to play. that number 8. But who knows? I just pray that Calafiori is just a knock. I have waited to listen to Arteta's press conference. I don't think he knows exactly what's going on. We'll get to find out before the Wolves game, and hopefully it's not bad enough. But even if he's sidelined, we still have Hincapi who's fit to start the game.
Awesome. So Saliba had an illness and missed the Brentford game. How big was the miss from for that game, or do you think Mosquera did enough for us not to miss Saliba?
So we missed Saliba, but Mosquera did the job. I think so. There's an argument. Gabi and Saliba's they make each other better when one is not on the sideline. The other one tends to be a bit flaky. And yes, Gabi Magales was a bit flaky, but then we didn't concede a goal. So our defensive unit did the job. I mean, I think we had just limited shot on target, about 2 or 3 shot on target. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100% sure. But the most important thing in the last game is that we didn't concede a game. We didn't concede a goal. Now with Saliba here, the idea was to give him minutes since he missed the last game, just keep him fit for the game against Wolves, which will be a very important game. It's gonna be another tough game. Right now, you would imagine that their coach will want to speak life into them. You know what? There's a chance that if we win this game or not lose the game, and then we win our next couple of fixtures, we might stand a chance of not getting down on the
Yeah.
so they have a lot to play for. Arsenal, we also have a lot to play for with Man City breathing down our neck. So it's really going to be a tough game. So I guess what he wanted to do was to give Saliba an hour of fitness in view of the next game next week. So Saliba obviously is a very was a very big miss, but that didn't cost us the game. But with him having an hour to his belt, that's a positive. You want him match ready and match fit. You don't want to see what happened to Saka in the last game where he was
Yeah.
just brought in and you could see that he was very unstable and uncomfortable in the pitch. So you want to get these guys match ready. That's why you had Zubimendi come in, touch the ball a little bit. You had the likes of Trossard coming because these are all in preparations for the next game. But ultimately, Saliba is a very important team member and a very important squad member overall.
Awesome. So let's talk Ben White for a bit. Timber has played so many games, and this was one we expected him to miss. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, White didn't complete the game. Back to his injury issues. Do you think Arsenal should invest in a right back in the summer?
I think there are more pressing positions to invest in. Salmon came in today and he didn't perform badly. I mean, he's a 16-year-old boy, and of course, these are not the responsibilities you want to put on a young kid.
Yeah.
So decision has to be made come May or June, and assess the total fitness of Ben White. Ben White has played a lot of games with injury before this season, so I think not being able to recover to full fitness because of how thick and fast the game is coming. And of course, you will see that Timber has almost been featured in almost all the games this season, and we are very, very careful not to overload him. Hence, why he's given more days off than every other team member.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't even travel or come today to play or on the team sheet. So
Yeah.
yes, you have a point by wanting to have a right back join, but I don't think that's the most pressing position to acquire come this summer window. I mean, they are more impressive. I mean, our forwards are very blunt. We need to find a way to strengthen the attack or reshuffle the attack. While we have some outgoings, we need to bring in fresh Premier League proven players to come and have us compete again next season, assuming we end up winning the league this season.
Okay, that's fine. So looking at Saka, when I saw him on the lineup and I saw Madueke on the lineup, I was a bit confused because I was quite interested to know what was going to happen. And he kind of played the offensive midfield role where you would
Yeah.
see Odegaard or Havertz.
Mhm.
So what's in your first glance? Is it something that you are comfortable playing against Wolves if we have to?
Absolutely not. I mean, Saka. That so again, this was Wigan, and let's not
Yeah,
forget they are not the championship team. They are a League One team, and they are not
yeah,
doing really good in their tier in the league. So we got away with a lot of Well, a lot of stuff. Playing Saka on a number in a number 10 role in the Premier League is different from the FA Cup or whatever other competition that is not in the Premier League. So it's something that you can. These are the games where you can test out different tactics and take a certain level of risk. But I wouldn't try that in a game as big as Wolves. You want to play your star boys in their comfortable position. If you recall, starting beginning of the season, we sort of experimented on the Madueke on the left, but when he
Mhm.
tried that two, three, 4 times and he saw that that was a very atrocious decision, he stopped because that
Yeah.
will only cost you, that will always leave a vacuum on that left wing forward position. And so I'm an advocate of playing players in their rightful position. Someone like Saka is a right wing forward and nothing else. Hopefully, Havertz is, I don't know how far, I think Havertz is going to miss 2, 3 games. So
Yeah.
hopefully, Odegaard is not going to be a very big miss. But we have Eze who can easily slot in that number 10 and Saka on that number right and bring in Noni Madueke in the second half if need be. So I don't think there's more to read in this. It was just him trying to fill in the gap in the last second, but I don't think he's going to try this in the Premier League or even in the Champions League.
Okay, then finally, before we go to the next slide, Gabriel Jesus. This was a game he was expected to start. How
Yeah,
would you rate his performances since he got back from injury? Were they better than how he was before he got injured?
I've sort of lost good memory of how he was before the injury because he's been like out for over 11 months or
Yeah,
so.
1 month, yeah.
Yeah, but coming back, the one good thing about him is he became even sharper than the last memory I had of him. But I'm sorry, but we all know what Jesus will give you. We all know his strengths and his weaknesses. I don't think Jesus is out and out number 9. I think he's a false 9. He's really good in dropping in the midfield and hold up play and starting up the attack. Just displacing the centre backs from the original position, allowing spacing behind for the wide attackers, and that's what those are his real strength. But to take on a one-on-one or to Jesus is not somebody that can give you 15 goals a season, even when
Yeah.
he's fully fit. He has more misses than opportunities to score. So I think I'm not surprised by his performance. He had a decent game. We didn't see much of him when we took out Saka. Yeah, I think he dropped as that temporary number
Second
10.
striker, yeah.
Yeah, second striker number 10. He was dropping deep, allowing Eucharist to flourish. But he didn't create a lot of chances. So many touches in behind, trying to do some flaky dribbles, losing balls,
Yeah.
not creating spaces at all. Again, I wasn't expecting him to do what is not in his locker. He couldn't do much. He's not a number 10. So I will let him pass on that. But once he had his opportunity, I think his first real opportunity, he converted it, and that's good enough for me. I want you to convert chances when you have them. But that's on Gabriel Jesus. I think ultimately there's one guy before you move on the slide that I think you will want to give credit to, and that's Nogard.
Yeah.
Nogard today was the man of the match. I don't know if you heard, and I'm not surprised. And this begs the question: why has he had limited time in the Premier League and in the Champions League? Why
Yeah.
are we playing Zubimendi? This guy is good. His assist today to Gabriel Jesus was
Ooh, that was sexy,
really,
man.
that was really sweet. I called him Nogadinho. Like that was beautiful to see. He
Yeah.
might not give. I think Zubimendi and Nogard are two different profiles. You play, where you play Zubimendi in the number 6 and pushing further in that 8th position to shoot. I don't know if Nogard is that guy that will drive in and shoot because in cases of
Yeah.
counter, he's not the fastest. Somewhat
I don't, yeah, he's not that agile, actually.
not that he's strong, but he's not that fast. So,
Yeah.
um, but as a 6, I think he can comfortably play with Declan Rice. So instead of overstretching Zubimendi, I think he deserves more minutes in the Premier League.
Yeah, okay, I agree. But among Gabriel Jesus, in 2027, he will have a year left on his contract, losing around 250 bags.
Mhm.
With that now linked with Alvarez, do you think we
Yeah.
should cash in on Jesus or keep him to live on a boss man or offer him a new contract?
No, this is a no-brainer. Alvarez is his levels. I think if he comes, he's most likely going to take the number 9 spot if Kerr is not taken. Yes, there's a lot of debates. How has he been performing in Spain?
Atletico. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody has an off season. It doesn't take away the quality of that guy. He can play on the left. He can play in the middle. He's a perfect. I think he will perfectly fit Arteta's structure. He's somewhat similar to Jesus, but Jesus with an edge. Free kicks
Yeah.
is good. One on one, you're definitely certain that he's going to convert his chances. He was one of the main guys that won the World Cup, with Argentina. So I mean, his profile is great. He's peak of his career. That's a no-brainer. Um, Jesus cannot justify 250,000, a week with this level of performance, availability and all that. And not to say that he was as at the time when we call him, he was a very beautiful addition to the squad. Same with Zinchenko. But just like everything in life, you measure up and you want more and you want more. And if we want to compete with the elites for a protracted period of time, we want to go and measure up with
Dominate. Yeah.
boys. Assign and acquire very, very, very international and world class proven players. Again, with the season, with this past window, we got a lot of players, but if we check it holistically, most of them were meant to come in as a squad,
Yeah.
to add
Squad
to depth.
fillers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Add to
failures,
our depth.
So I think that shouldn't be the strategy this window. If we're talking about this window and this and the profile that we need to get in, we need to get someone that that would compete to start something similar
Yeah.
to Anese, so that when we are calling about our preferred lineup, we are all not sure who's going to start. That's a testament of how good we want the
It's
squad to
good.
become this year ultimately.
Awesome. Okay. Obviously, I have a couple of folks in the chat. Thanks for always being around. Phantom Bigs Balls. He says, statement, it was Wigan FFS. Of course, it was Wigan, but come on. You have to do what is in front of you, man. Okay, so let's look at the match stats for a little bit. Clearly, the dominance was there. Arsenal dominated the XG figures, and 17 shots, 6 on target. Do you think, compared to the amount of shots we had, do you think we converted enough, or do you think that there was a whole lot left to be desired?
The first half versus the second half was like night and day.
Yeah,
Like, and again, I don't know how this works behind the scene. I don't know what the manager says to them in the second half, or don't stretch yourself no more. We've won the game. Just enjoy the game. Just see out the game. But even at that, we created loads of chances. Zubimendi created a lot of chances. Trossard created chances. Eze had chances. Gyökeres had chances. The one that hit the bar. There was this
yeah.
header. There was this header from Gabriel Martinelli that he
Straight at the goalkeeper.
three
Yeah,
nods and he just went straight. Was it the shot on target? Okay, no, we considered the shot on target. I think that was in the first half. But regardless, we created a lot of chances in the second half. But in our usual fashion, we bottled it in the second half, and that's the frustration of ordinary fans like us. Like the guy in the chat said, this is Wigan for fuck's sake, and I agree with him. This was an opportunity for us to, you
to load
know,
up, man.
load up, to gain much more confidence, to tear these teams apart, take chances. We do not have the luxury of wasting chances, because come our next game, um again, let me take it back to Brentford, the
Yeah.
Gabriel Martinelli's miss. Those that
Mm.
don't have the luxury of missing chances like this, because those small margins are what is going to take us over the line. So I get frustrated when we have sitters and we miss them, and we raise our heads up to the heavens and raise our heads on the head, and then we get another chance and we miss it again. Whatever is going on with being clinical and scoring and being fearless in front of the goal has to be dealt with. If it's more shooting drills, if it's more focus on our attacking final third decisions, because you could see that our final third decisions were so poor with
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus. The final decisions were poor, missed passes, misunderstandings between Noni Madueke and Ben White in the first half. All those things need to be sorted. Who is overlapping? When Salmon came, he was not overlapping. Was that an instruction? Maybe, because when we overlap, we create more. more options in front.
Yeah, for transitions, yeah.
We take off the defenders who are already forming five at the back. We distract them with the fullbacks and we create spaces in behind. That didn't happen in the second half. Chances were created, notwithstanding, but we missed them. I'm just not exactly excited about that. But if I'm an Arteta, if I'm in the coaching staff, I want to point that out, show them the clips. What can we do better to create opportunities, to convert our chances? We're not going to have as much spaces as we had today with Wigan. So if we have one or two chances, we have to be scoring those chances. Taking it back
Yeah.
again to the Brentford game again, I keep taking it back because
No,
again,
that's fine.
the Brentford game, we noticed that we had the first shot on target. Gave me the 60th minute.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So these guys are not shooting enough. And the times that they shoot, look at Zubimendi's careless shoot. Went
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
These guys need to just be serious with this thing. Even if it means learning or training further on how to convert their shots to shots on target. And if they need more drills, so be it. But low blocks, there's only one way to defeat low blocks, which I'm expecting against Wolves, and that is shooting and being clinical with our nod aerially. Simple
Yeah,
and short.
sure. Okay, so looking at 4 goals in 27 minutes, and we'll just talk through each goal one after the other, starting with Madueke's goal. That was such an amazing pass from Izzy. It's been a long time since we've seen our players give those kind of nail tread passes that goes in behind the defense for someone to finish. So, what is your take on the goal from Izzy's pass to Madueke's finish?
You know what? The goals were fantastic. But just alluding to my previous point, what I feel happened was that we took our chances. Like, I don't think there was a chance in the first half, like a clear chance that on a normal day, Noni Madueke would hit that straight to the goalkeeper's chest. But he took his chance. The second goal, the Nogard, was it the second goal? No. The
No,
second
the
goal,
second one was not Izzy gave a true pass to
yeah,
Martinelli
it
on the
was
left
still
hand
easy
side.
to Martinelli.
Yeah,
You and I have seen Martinelli miss those chances a billion times, but he
sure.
took it, right? So I think the clear difference in our first half versus other games in the past and in this second half that we just witnessed was that we took our chances. Every chance that we had, we converted them compared to the second half. So that's why I describe those as night and day between the first and the second half, because in the first half, every chance that we got that was clear chance, we converted. And in the second half, we did the opposite, kept wasting our chances.
Yeah, but then again, there was an argument in one of the groups I was in. They were stating that if Odegaard was the one on the ball while Madueke and Martinelli made those runs, that you probably hold on to the ball some more and that chance will go away. So the question is, it's clear that Odegaard doesn't give those killer balls anymore. Should that cost him his place in the team? Any man that is meant to be there for the creativity.
You see, with Odegaard, that's a conversation that each time it's been brought up, I just get very, I get, I get, I get disappointed because I watch Odegaard in Norway in their qualifiers, in their World Cup qualifiers, bro. Most of the chances he created for Haaland was through the middle, so we know that we have that in his locker. He
Mhm.
has that in his locker. He's Odegaard. In fact, when we wanted to sign Odegaard after his loan spell, it was between Odegaard and Madison, and there was a lot.
Madison, yeah.
And I'm like, yo, get Madison, get Madison, get Madison. I wanted Madison. The only question mark I had with Madison at the time was his injury record, right? But
Yeah.
now what I wanted wasn't what came. He finally, Arteta went finally with Martin Odegaard, and since then he's been cooking. Last 2 years, the sudden decline. I mean, there are injuries, there out of form, coming back from injury is not always the easiest, right? But even with that injury, even before the injury, you could see that split pass. So I'm saying all this to say that he can cause those havoc, that mayhem, not just going sideways to Saka and backwards and sideways and then throwing in the crossing behind. No, I know he can give us that cutting edge pass. Why he's not doing it now? Why he's having so much touches on the ball? Can only mean that that's an instruction he's being, could be an
Given.
instruction. It could be, you know what, This is how I want you to progress with the ball. Come back, take the ball, and then dress and give the ball to Saka. Whatever the thing is, I don't know. Because if you notice today, Eze was dropping down again, he was dropping deep again to collect the ball, and the difference was that he's able to create from deep.
Yeah, like
Now,
like a quarterback.
yeah, he's able to create. He did that against Manchester City
Yeah,
with Martinelli. He's done that today with Madueke. So he's able to do that. I don't know what's going on with Odegaard. That's long and short of the story. I cannot sit here and pretend like I have the answers. But one thing I'll say is that as a number 10, I would expect that the coach gives you the freedom to roam around, to create spaces, and not limit you to a style of play. So taking that so many touches is very disappointing. You can do that when you're deep, when you're trying to find your passes, but when you're in the midfield, the more you advance, the less touch you should take on the ball. Make a decision.
yeah,
Just make a
yeah.
decision. Whether you lose the ball or not, just make a decision.
Yeah, because one key thing is that it really allows the team not to get back into place. One issue I have with Odegaard is that he's on counter attacks that's meant to launch from a transition. But because he dwells on the ball so much, you can see the other team going back into that low block. When a simple pass like what Eze did, and have Martinelli and
Puts them
Madueke go through
unawares.
on goal, and we are unawares. But obviously, our main striker, own goal, he didn't want to get left out.
Yeah.
6 own goals right now. So is it just more of the pressure that we give to concede those own goals, or just is something special in our game that make teams scared to score themselves?
No, teams can only concede own goals when there is pressure. If there's no pressure, then nobody just gets the ball in their half and shoots it behind the net, right? So it's always as a result of pressure. And I don't care if own goals at the end of the day wins us the wins the golden boots. Um, the goal is for us to win and win big. Just one trophy is not even good enough in my books. We've spent
Yeah.
so much money, we've worked so hard, we've acquired much more resources, we've hired coaching staff, we've had set piece coach, we've had all this in our arsenals, and we've not spent all that time to just win a Carling Cup, assuming we win it, or win an FA Cup, assuming we win it. It has to be at the minimum two big trophies. I don't care what those two are, as long as one is coming from the Premier League or the Champions League. Any other thing is not acceptable. In fact, if we win an FA Cup and Carling Cup, it's not acceptable in my books. So yes, no, really, nah. We can't give in all that resources for us just to come short again, second in a row.
Yeah,
Nah, I can only
yeah,
imagine how.
I think mentally, I don't think we are prepared to have the fourth second in a row. I think it's going to be very damaging for both the players and even the fans. So let's go to some individual performances. Madueke, there was so much talk about him having zero output in the final third. And in his last 5 games, he has scored 3 goals for us. There was the goal against Leeds, which turned out to be his first Arsenal goal in the Premier League. He has scored 3 in the Champions League already, 2 against Club Brugge and 1 against Bayern Munich. For Brentford, he scores a header, and of course, Wigan, he also scores now. So do you think he should justify his starting place against Wolves, or should Saka come back ahead of him?
I think he should start against Wolves. There's a reason why Saka was played 45 minutes, and this is not just because of footballing reasons. This is purely on a fitness reason. Madueke is obviously fitter than Saka at this moment. I don't know if Saka is able to give us 30 solid minutes in the Premier League at this point. I could be wrong. So the idea is to play the 60th minute man, because obviously Madueke is a 60-minute man. Once 60 minutes, you just see the board for him to get off. So play him in his usual 60 minutes. I'm not sure. You see, before I finish my point, it's the frustration for me with Madueke and some of our players is the level of inconsistency. Today
Yeah,
he was brilliant. Tomorrow you never know what you're gonna get. Against the
true.
Leeds, he wasn't meant to start that game. During the warm up, Saka pulled up, and then next thing he was asked to join and join the team in the first 11 warm up and then play the game. So it was like a last minute. He wasn't mentally prepared, and to come and give that performance, we were like, oh my god, that's great. And then the next game, he was just opposite of that performance against Leeds, and I were wondering what's going on.
Yeah,
So
against
if
Chelsea.
only
Yeah,
we can get consistency from these boys, and then that will fill us so much with so much confidence with the 12 games remaining in the Premier League. But regardless of all that, I would start him ahead of Saka just because of fitness issues, and have Saka gradually get ready for the main game, which will be the North London derby and the England and the London derby against Chelsea. Because those two, in fact, the next three games are must-win games.
yeah.
Hoping that City drops points.
True, true. But then again, when you think of the fact that prior to Madueke coming to the club, Saka has never really had that player that can actually keep him out of the side.
Mhm.
So looking at Madueke's form, on a day when both players are fully fit, are you now confident to see Madueke play ahead of Saka, or will Saka always be first choice when he's fit?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why we went for Noni Madueke. His wage bill even tells you that he's not meant to be. You can't have someone that's earning 50K a week and someone that's earning almost 300K and you're benching 300K per week, who's supposed to be your star boy, the face of the club's.
Yeah,
There's a reason why if Arteta wanted a competition on that, he would have gone for someone like Semenyo. He would have gone for, much
Rafinha,
more renowned
yeah,
people with, yeah, much more people with much more renowned personality. I mean, when he
profile.
tried that was with Rafinha years ago. But I don't think he wants to replace Saka by any means or by at any stretch. Like I don't think that's his plan. The plan is to have the guy and whoever is coming in to know this is your place. You are not going to be ahead of this guy. The only time you're going to be ahead is when he's injured or he's still recovering from fitness issues. But if there's a
Okay.
fit Saka and there's a fit Madueke,
Madueke.
definitely going to go with Saka. In fact, there's an argument that even Martinelli might even get a nod in most cases over Noni Madueke as it stands now.
I'm
As
going for
it
that
stands now,
position.
I mean, it's debatable. Some of us prefer Noni Madueke. Someone like me, I will always prefer Noni Madueke to be the second choice, the deputy to Saka on that right wing. But the last game that he was subbed and Martinelli came in and proved to be more potent on that right wing. So again, that has to do with the consistency with these boys. If these boys
Yeah.
can give us this performance week in, week out, at least 6, 7 games in a row, you can have off days or two, but not a good game today, the next game you're off, the next game you're good. That's not the level of inconsistency that this Arsenal club deserves at this point in time.
I agree. So let's talk about one player that needed this, and that was Iberici Eze. Going out at halftime in the Brentford game, my lord, the internet was on fire. With so
Uh-huh.
much talk on how he was not worth the 67 mil that was paid for him and yada yada. But with Havertz out injured, Odegaard out injured as well, he needed to step up. And on this performance, is it good to start against Wolves?
What other choice do we have? He has to. He has to, and I think that he made a very strong case for himself with the game against Wigan that we just witnessed today. Again, people say yes, it's Wigan, but you also responded to the chat. You only beat what's in front of you,
Yeah,
and with this performance, it's only fair that he gets a nod. It will be very disrespectful not to start him against Wolves. Of all teams, of all players, he's the only creative spark we have right now. I mean, there is a rumor that with the recent injury with Havertz, that we're looking to recall Ethan Waneri. But those, Ethan Waneri compared to Eze, you're obviously going to give Eze a higher chance
the
of starting.
nod.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, so he has made a case, 2 assists. He had two shots on target as well, if not more. But in the second
Yeah,
half, I'm sure I saw him with 2 shots on target. So this was his better performance in a long time, and with him being, in fact, between I see Nogard behind him in this picture. Nogard had the man of the match award, but the close second would be Eze in this game, and so he deserves a chance to start this game as well, to start the next game against Wolves.
awesome. So we have a chat from Ron Vinayak. Thanks. He said that we should prepare to bottle again, and that always messes up when it's time to get real. Arsenal fans have had this PTSD over what has happened in the past couple of campaigns, and with 12 games to go, obviously there's that same fear
Yeah.
that they might not bottle it to Man City. But if I were to ask you this question as an Arsenal fan, what do you think we have this time that can be enough to get us over the line?
I don't think we're going to win this league this season. Uh, I've made peace with it, and that's why I can't be upset. It's the worst thing that can happen to an Arsenal fan is the hopes that they give. When you lose a game of football, when you draw a game as an Arsenal fan, and you go watch Arteta's press conference, maybe a game before the next game, he has his way with words. He speaks. No wonder the players are ready to die for him. Like he gingers you. He speaks. You're like, looks like there's something I don't know. Maybe I don't even know what I'm watching. Maybe
Yeah,
obviously, he says these things. I remember losing to Manchester United and what he said. Don't worry, the rest of the season you're gonna enjoy. We're gonna have
enjoy
fun. And
ourselves,
the next
have
thing,
fun.
Kairat was a bit dodgy 3-2, and then we blew them up 4-0. And I'm like, okay, something is cooking. Only for us to go and play Brentford and then
Brentford
zero
came back to
zero.
the fourth settings.
So again, I have made up my mind to accept it for what it is. He doesn't
Yeah,
have bonus. He doesn't have the balls to take risk. He's not a risk taker. He's a structured man. He prefers to have his boys play a certain way, controlled possession, dictate the tempo, slow build up. That's not an attribute of somebody who is going for the kill. And with that
yeah,
structure, with that template, with that game plan, we've seen him struggle more often than not with
sure.
teams, with lesser teams even. Because with these lesser teams, they come in sitting at the back. And so when you're building up slowly, when you had chances to counter or play fast, quick in transition football, you're letting them, return, reshape, and then you're depending on set pieces or crossing the ball. And inshallah, that has been the same strategy from last season. And
Yeah,
if nothing changes, and I don't see anything changing, to be honest, we didn't go to acquire people in January when we knew that our attacking force were blunt. Same thing, similar to what we did last season, when we were chasing Liverpool. So I just feel like it's the same old, same old. I see this as the same PTSD shit going on and happening again. We are not performing, most importantly. It's not like we are very unfortunate with our score lines, it's that we are not performing. The game against Brentford, I keep referring to that game, was very, very, it's a sackable offense. At this stage of the season, we're playing like that in our own home. Come on, bro.
no, it was that way actually.
Sorry. So at G-Tech Community Stadium, my
Yeah,
bad. Yeah, we
yeah,
won them. We
we
won them.
went into the. But I think my
Yeah,
own disappointment was more on the fact that when we signed someone like AJ, he gave me that vibe of being different from what we already had.
yeah,
So he was going to come with the creativity we were showing at Crystal Palace, but he came into the team and he just got swallowed up. Same thing with Gyökeres. Gyökeres was supposed to be a different alternative to Kai Havertz, someone that goes into the channels, that can score many goals in Portugal, only for him to come in here and get swallowed up as well. So I think it's just more of our system that kind of made it very difficult. That if you cannot adapt to that system and become like mechanical the way Arteta wants it to be, it's going to be challenging.
and
So
then
let's talk about the. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, but then you argue that the likes of Zubimendi came in and it was just like a perfect shoe size. Fits in,
Yeah, yeah.
didn't struggle much. Very few bad games like against Liverpool, against Manchester
Man
United,
United,
so
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, but ultimately you can argue that he has slotted in the role perfectly. So I mean, I have no idea why our attacking for or our attacking system is very, very predictable and blunt. Like I literally know what they are going to do as a fan. So if I'm a fan and I'm not an expert, I don't do any analysis behind the
Or
scene. I don't know.
data, yeah.
I don't know
Imagine
what
the players that plan for
Jane
it.
was. Yeah, it's so easy to mark us out of the game. It's so
Yeah.
easy. Saka, we know what he's going to do. Just put two people just around him, and that's why you have the only thing that I've seen Arteta deploy to save or help Saka with those difficulties is to play a Ben White or a Timber and ask them to just run that channel. But
Yeah, but funny enough, Timber doesn't even run the channel. Timber actually cuts in and Saka stays wide. It's only when White comes on that White
he runs
actually
the
does that
channel.
overlapping and runs the
Yeah,
channel.
you're
So
right.
it's quite
You're
it's
right.
quite interesting when you think about it. So tactically, we kept a very high line. Mosquera and Saliba did well to, really keep Wigan compact. And we had some quick circulation of the ball. But my question is, were we too casual? The enemy that we're playing with, was it a case of because we were playing Wigan? Because There's kind of times you see Martinelli with the ball, he would dribble, 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 dribble when he had like two or three guys to pass to. So was it just a game state that because we are playing against Wigan and these were like lesser opposition, that players were allowed to showboat a little more? Because we're not really as efficient as we're expected to be in attack, despite scoring 4 goals.
Yeah, first half was absolute beauty. First half we took our chances, like I said. Second half, I refuse to blame the coach. I think this is the personnel in the pitch. These guys are not good enough.
Hmm.
Martinelli comes in, does his thing one night, the other night he does whatever he chooses. Like Brentford, he missed a sitter. People say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't care." That ball was the easiest thing to do was to chip in that ball.
Yeah, or play it first time. Or that is even better. What about the one against Nottingham Forest?
What even about the one today, self? Today that he was one on one, he now came back and now tried to, like, what are you doing? First touch, shoot,
Shoot, shoot, shoot, man.
shoot. You've already passed the player.
Yeah,
Trying to hold on to the ball, they're going to return back and pick the ball.
he's quite
Shoot.
inconsistent, man. He's quite
So the
inconsistent.
inconsistency is what's killing me. Trossard is not getting any younger. So he's been like a breath of fresh air this season. But again, time and time again, especially in this last half of the last quarter of the season, he's shown why he's at best the best 12th man any team can have. Like he's always the best 12th man to come in from the bench,
Yeah,
change
yeah,
again. So the inconsistency is what's killing me, man. Gyökeres comes in, does well. Tomorrow, you're not sure what you're getting. But ultimately, I just hope we're able to just drag this over the line and win this league. I
yeah,
don't think we
yeah.
would, but I'll be very excited if we do with these very blunt front four.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's look at our player ratings. So maybe we'll just drill each player one after each other. This was my rating, and I'd like to get your rating. So starting
Okay.
with Kepa, he gets a 7 for me. He had a couple of decent saves. He also got knackered by an attacker later on. Yeah, one of that thing, we'll talk about this. How come the bigger players became a whole lot rougher toward the second half? Was it because the game was done?
I mean, what they did in the second half was just we lost in the first half. Let us not lose in the second half. Let's not
Hmm.
let us at least draw in the second half. So it became like two different game of football. Arsenal won us in the first half. Let's also not lose to them in the second half. So the best thing they did was to deploy. So when they had the ball, they will play 4-5-1. They
Yeah,
choke the midfield. But when we were attacking, they will rescind one of the midfielders into the back five, and then they will try to contain us and no spacing behind. A lot of the times it was Zubimendi crossing or Trossard crossing on, and we could have scored or nicked a goal or two. So there was not a lot of spacing behind. They just didn't want to concede any other goal. That was the instruction. Don't leave here insulted.
yeah,
Like we have our fans on the crowd watching. Let's not capitulate. So whatever we do not. So they rarely attacked us in the second half. That's why we had the impetus to bring in Seth Ford because Kepa was just chilling and doing nothing.
yeah.
You get
He that works from home or something, man.
he was working remotely. So I mean, we could as well give the boys, give Salmon some minutes, give the Seth Ford guy some minutes. So they just sat in behind and. They didn't cause us problem. They just didn't want to concede any goal. So I guess that's one of the reasons. But again, that's one of the reasons why we didn't have a lot of chances. But we had enough chances to at least bury two more goals in that second half, and we were very wasteful.
Yeah, okay. So does Kepa get a 7 for you as well, or do you have a different rating to give him?
7 is fair.
Okay,
7 is fair for all the back five.
yeah, okay. So looking at Ben White, was talking about his injury record. How was his performance? Do you think he was? I don't think he was like. I don't think he gave that Ben White vibe we get from him, or was he just feeling restricted?
I'm not sure he's played. Has he played since he came back from injury? I don't think he's played since he came back from injury.
No, I think
I don't
he came
think.
on as a sub in the Chelsea game. I think that was
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, that was as a sub. We played Timber in that game,
yeah,
and we played Hincapi on the left. So he came in. So this is like him. That's his first start since he came back from the injury. Not a lot
mm,
of people, would be amazing. I remember the likes of Ola, coming back from a
mhm.
long spell. And the first game against Nottingham Forest, for Nottingham Forest, he was looking overweight.
Yeah,
He
stressed
wasn't,
out. Yeah,
yeah, he wasn't looking fast. Same with this guy, this guy that plays nine for Wisa, Johan
Oh yeah,
Wisa.
yeah, yeah. For
So
Newcastle,
it's not
yeah,
like,
that is
yeah, so
debut.
yeah, coming back straight from injury is not the easiest. So this takes a
Mm.
lot of getting used to. There's a big difference between being fit to train and being match fit. Those are two
Yeah,
different things. You can be
yeah,
fit all you want in a training, but coming into the game, it's a different kettle of fish. So
yeah,
I
true.
think for someone that has come back from injury and to provide the resource that he did today, running and trying to overlap, I think 7 is fair.
Okay, so Saliba was ill in the game against Brentford. You don't think he needed to play as much as he played before someone replaced him?
Yes, again, this was in preparation for the Wolves and the North London derby. You don't want to just throw him. Like I said, it's the hardest thing to do is to start someone on a very serious game, and he's just coming back from injury, and you expect him to perform with that pressure, with everything on the line. There was nothing on the
Yeah,
line in this game, if you ask me. We were already winning 4 goals, and even if he didn't start, we would have still won this game. But it was just some sort of preparations for likes of Saliba, for the likes of Saka, for the likes of Trossard to get minutes and Jokeres to get minutes ahead of the big task coming next weekend. So yeah, I think 60 minutes was good enough, if you ask me.
now, okay, so one player that we've not really spoken about in today's video is Miles Lewis Kelly. Yes, we wanted him in midfield.
Mhm.
He got back to left back, but there were a couple of times when he was kind of roasted by the winger. Is that a concern? Because if you look at the game against Liverpool, Frimpong had nothing to do against Hincapié. As soon as Hincapié came off injured and MLS came to that left wing, Frimpong had more freedom. Same thing in Bayern Munich. So, like, is it a case of the fact that he's not playing much games, that his confidence is quite shaken to the level now where his performances have been a bit suspect to you?
There's a level of confidence a player plays with when you know that you're most likely going to start a lot of the games. Like you're like in the first 11. There's a level
Yeah.
of confidence you play with. And there's a level of confidence. So when people say, oh, this should be a game where you start knocking on the manager's door, it's not that simple. It's not that simple because you're scared of making mistakes. You're scared of not playing to the tune or to the level that the manager demands. You're scared of being very being the worst player on the pitch. So you're overthinking things. You're trying to be very careful, and sometimes that could cause damage to the player, to the reputation, and that could make you overthink things and not be your real self. It takes a run of games, in my opinion, for someone to really get that fluid and that's confident in a game. I think I lost you there. Sorry, guys. I think we lost him. We'll give him a minute or two for him to get back.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Man, sorry, I had the cuts. I had to really sort that out. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, what I was trying to say was there's a level of confidence that a player has when he knows that he's most likely to be selected for the next run of games in the first 11 versus when you are not sure of your starting position. So it's not
Yeah.
the easiest to give your best performance because you're overthinking things. You are not sure what to do in most cases. You're trying to impress the manager, and when you overthink things and when you're not being yourself, you're liable to make mistakes. Like that yellow card, it was so unnecessary. You know, another thing I noticed with Luis Kelly is that sometimes he doesn't play with his strengths. Sometimes, bro, you're not fast. Don't if you notice our set piece, they will leave one man up front,
And leave
but
him back there.
they leave one man up front in our attacking area and leave Skelly alone to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Two things: if you're going to hug the guy, please, that first ball as he's coming, as the guy is
Try and
dashing,
get it, man.
take it first. But
Yeah.
if you're not sure you're going to get it, give him a space. Just give him a yard out. That's defending
To
what
allow your guys recover,
allow
yeah,
him
because because,
allow
because
him
that's how he got a red card against West Ham.
yes. So just make a decision. Are you hugging him? Just like Saliba or Gabriel, they usually will go to the hug and they stretch out their leg to get the ball when they are trying to control, to just displace the center forward. But if you think your legs are too short or you cannot hold that man, bro, give him a yard. Watch what his body movement is. Mark space and let your guys come down to help.
Yeah, yeah,
That way,
but the thing is this: Christian Nogard doesn't get as much games as Luis Kelly. He even gets less games than Luis Kelly. But every time he has played for us, he gives us at the very least a 7/10 performance. And he
yes.
knows that he's not going to play the next week. So why can't Luis Kelly have that same attitude?
One is 33-year-old, the other one is 18-year-old. One was a former captain in Brentford. The other guy is just someone that just got his first nod last season. His first international football career was last year. His first team game was last year. Like it's night and day. The level of experience, the level of composure, the experience is, you can't argue. So again, Nogard is playing in a very familiar position, midfield. If you're a DM, you can always slot in as a centre back. There's no rocket science. It's even easier for you to perform better as a centre back than in a DM, because in a DM, bro, you're conducting the game. You're like the conductor, right? You're overseeing
Yeah,
everybody. You're trying to influence the game. But this guy is a midfielder. You took him to a left back. He's really not a defender,
yeah,
So
yeah,
according
yeah,
to one of his interviews, that was the fastest way for Arteta to bring him up to speed to the first 11. So if I
yeah.
were to be Luis Kelly, I will hire a personal defensive coach and I accept and make peace with my position
Yeah,
and learn.
because it happened to Maitland Niles. He
Yeah,
was a midfielder that Arteta was playing as a wing back or a full back, and he was not satisfied that he had to leave the club. If he had remained, I'm sure he'd have been able to take a first team place by now. Sometimes
but
it's what is in front of you that you have to just take and go with it, especially
a
when
lot
you're
of
young.
a lot of these guys started. I don't know how many defenders started off as defenders.
Yeah,
Calafiori started as an attacker. Saliba started as a number 9. These guys made peace with the position. You know, Lauren came in as a midfielder.
yeah,
You know,
even Mosquera played futsal in his younger days.
so so
Yeah,
so whatever opportunity you have, accept it, make peace with it, and be the best that you can be. If there's another position, did you think that Maitland Niles would have gotten his England call up if he was playing in the midfield for Arsenal?
no, I don't think so.
Exactly. It was because he
Um,
accepted his position, and that's how he got his first England call up. So you gotta just understand and accept life for what it is, and just make the best out of the situation. And it feels to me that this boy has really not accepted that he's a left back for the Arsenal. And the earlier he
yeah,
does
yeah,
that, the better for him.
yeah. I think he sees himself as a midfielder. Yeah, he has time because then again, with the injuries we're having, if someone like Nogat eventually leaves, there might be a slot or two for him. But there's still Merino, there's Rice, there's Izzy, there's Odegaard. It's going to be difficult. But because the issue now is that even in the left hand side, there's Hincapié and Calafiori ahead of him.
And that's because he has not leveraged on that opportunity he had from last season to cement his. This guy played against Real Madrid home and away. He played against Manchester City when we were winning 5-1. He even scored in the game. Bro,
Yeah,
take that. I don't know if these guys. I know that rest is required after a full-blown game or full session, training session. But, bro, if I were some of these guys earning as much as they are earning, I'd like to cement my position. I'd like to take extra steps in getting better after the
yeah,
fact. Get a personal trainer that could take you on 45 minutes, after the fact, and
yeah.
help you better your defensive skills, because that is your bread and butter. That is how you make a living now, boy.
Yeah, true, true. Okay, so we're kind of spoken on the folks in midfield. Nogard, I gave him an 8. Maybe he's supposed to get a 9, but this was one of his best performances for us in quite a while. So
Yeah.
there's a question now. At what point do we now consider Noga good enough to start ahead of Zubimendi in the league? Or is this something that can never happen?
I don't know. I never say never. Everything is possible. But one thing I know about Ateta, it's not always about the performance. Sometimes it's about his favorites. And then when there is so much pressure from the fans or pundits are talking too much, sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't. He's a very stubborn coach. He has
Yeah.
his favorite. Odegaard will come back. Eze might have a run of games, but once Odegaard comes back, he will do one of two things. Either he forces Odegaard to play with Eze, or he starts Odegaard ahead of Eze. So that's one thing I've realized. Saka, no matter how bad Saka is, Saka will start ahead of Noni. You
Yeah.
understand? No matter how when Ramsdale was there, no matter how bad Raya was, Ramsdale will still be on the bench. No matter how bad Julian Timber is right now, he's really not had bad games except the last game against Brentford. So these are
Yeah.
his favorite guys. The center backs, those are untouchable. Obviously we
Mm-hmm.
don't have anybody deputy to take over their roles. But the point is, Nogard is not starting against Zubimendi. Zubimendi was the plan. What we sold to him was that he was going to be our starting number 6. And
Yeah.
what was sold to Nogard was that he was going to come and assist. That
As a
was the
backup.
update. So unless something drastic happens to Zubimendi, I don't even see Nogard getting a shout.
Okay, now, so is there a case for playing Eze back in the left? Or after that incident against Aston Villa where he allowed Matikash go past him?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm looking at Martinelli, I'm looking at Trossard. Yes, they have numbers. Yes, they try sometimes. But shouldn't Eze's future in the club be on the left wing? Bearing in mind that he can't sit ahead of Martinelli. Sorry, bearing in mind that he can't sit ahead of Odegaard, Rice, and Zubi when they are off it.
So the way Arsenal play as they play as a team. They play in a very structured way. We do we our style of play is a massive attack and a massive defense,
Yeah.
and our wingers do a lot of job coming backwards to defend to help their fullbacks. That's the reasons why we have the less or the least conceded goals this season and prior. Because we play like that. We all go all attack. Sometimes we play a high line, but
Mhm.
because we have the likes of Saliba and Gabriel who are equally fast and dogged, we take such risk knowing that if there's any loose ball that they are
They
good
can,
enough
they
to
can mop up.
and
Yeah.
clean it up, And then when we are defending, you see everybody running all the way back. You see Saka, Eze's defensive, sharp. His defensive skills isn't. He was not. He was never defending in Crystal Palace. It
Yeah.
was something similar to a, Marcel
Salah.
or Salah,
Yeah.
who just give me the ball, I make things happen. Like when you lose the ball, I'll just mark the space. But where we play, everybody attacks and everybody defends. To play him as a left wing forward means that you're going to stress him. You're going to take
Yeah.
a lot away from him. The energy that he needs to be able to create and go offensive, you're taking it off him, defending and running back. And so now he's neither here nor there. Offensive is not that great, defensively is not that great. So you want to put him or leave him in a position where he's not doing a lot of defending. He's going to press, not as much as Odegaard, but he's going to mark space, which is good enough in the middle. But you see, teams most likely attacks from the wings. So you need your fullbacks and your forward attackers to always return to help. The more the numbers, the least chances they're able to concede.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm looking at Martinelli on the attack. He scored again today, and that's taking his tally to 11 goals this season. He's just behind Peter Gyökeres now, top, goal scorers. But the thing that he actually had his spread of goals across all competitions.
Mhm.
4 in the FA Cup, I think like 5 or 6 in the Champions League, and a handful
Yeah,
in the league.
yeah.
So is this still always going to be behind Trossard when we want to start like serious games, or are there
Yes,
games that are fit for him in the team?
yes. Once Arteta makes up his mind, he's made up his mind. That was the same fate Trossard suffered last season. He was the second. He was the 12th man on the bench, and now he's decided to change things a bit, and rightfully so. The only way you will get the best out of Gyökeres is when you play Trossard. If you pay close attention, Trossard is not his business is not to take you on or run past you. Once he
Yes.
gets the ball, he's looking straight to Gyökeres. He's playing
Gyökeres, yeah.
one touch ball in behind. He's just so Gyökeres has been able to thrive with that fact. In fact, I rather play Martinelli on the right if Saka is not fit, because you know that those crosses are what's going to help Gyökeres to at least. You remember the Leeds goal? It was Martinelli's cross.
Yeah, from the left and
Gyökeres,
right hand side, yes, yes.
yeah, so he needs people to feed him, and that's why, because we have a Gyökeres, you cannot have a Martinelli on the left and expect Gyökeres to thrive, because Martinelli is not that smart to give you that outrageous. He's done that once, so that's deep coral. I've forgotten that team. That was it in the Champions League. It was in the Champions League against in was it Inter Milan? It was
Yeah,
against
yeah,
Inter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. When I
Yes,
crossed the border,
yeah, it was
enter,
against
yeah.
Inter Milan. Yeah. So I mean, Martinelli is just weird. You know, you can make all the analysis you want, but he has some. When he's good. But when he wants to be bad, he stinks. Um,
Yeah.
but, but if I was to say, I don't think he's going to ever edge Trossard this season, at least the next 12 games. If you are expecting to play a Gyökeres as a 9, because Trossard and Gyökeres work together good. The only time you start Martinelli on the left is maybe if you have a Havertz or a Jesus who are false nines, who can drop in and switch positions. You see them alternating. You see Martinelli go into the 9 position. You see Gabriel Jesus on the left or Havertz on the left. Gyökeres is not like that. He's very stationary. He's a very rigid number 9, traditional number 9. So all he gives you, give me the ball and I try to shoot. Simple as that.
Awesome. So we have a comment from the chat from Conor Bradcock talking about a new player, Boston Cedar, from the academy. You know, obviously, in the couple of Champions League campaigns, especially against Kairat, we saw the likes of Ife, Ibrahim, and some other folks come on to the fray. And I thought Max Dama was the main guy that we wanted to see, but obviously, he had an ankle injury that kept him out for a while. So the question now is, someone like this Boston, at what point do you think academy players can get a chance? I think we're in the business end right now, so they might not get more of a chance, right?
We don't know who we are playing. I think the draw will be tomorrow for the next round, for the 6th round of the FA Cup, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, tomorrow,
Fifth
fifth
round.
round. Yeah, this was the 4th round. So yeah, we just qualify for the 5th round. So the draw would be tomorrow. If we are playing a championship side, was he not on the bench today?
I think he
I
was.
thought I
Let
saw
me
him on the
check.
bench today.
Yeah, I think he was on the bench. I think he was on
Yeah,
the
so
bench.
it's all dependent on who we are playing next in the FA Cup. We are playing a championship or a League One club, then he might get a shout. Other than that, say your feature this season, like say being featured this season, goodbye. Because like every game now, Carling Cup is we're in the finals with City. I mean, I don't see him being in a match squad for any game unless we go on a run and City drops points and then we decide, let's give our youngies a chance. Arteta is not trying to take risk. I hear there is a
Yeah.
lot of pressure behind the scenes now.
Pressure.
So
Yeah.
he's not gonna this is not the time for you to try things out.
Awesome. So let's just have a quick roundup of the round 4 games played so far. We started with Chelsea winning 4-0 at Hull. Yeah, and we're seeing him coming back to the ground where he, made his name. I think he was
Yeah.
also a player for Hull. He was playing against us in the final in 2014. And
Mm.
of course, he managed 161 games for them. That was going to be a routine win, a hat trick from Pedro Neto and Estevao. But let us talk about Chelsea for a little bit. What's your thought on the way they play one? Your thought on the overhaul of players within that team? And who are the standouts for you?
I mean, I rarely watch their game. I have really have zero business. The only time I watch Chelsea is when maybe a week or 2 weeks before our fixture, just to sort of understand how much they've developed. But Neto for me is their best player. Not James would have been the easy number one, but he's obviously not a guy that will give you 60% presence in the season. So Pedro, the funny thing is that Neto used to be a regular in the hospital. Since he signed for
Yeah.
since he signed for Chelsea, this guy has really not been injured. Like, what's going on? Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Neto for me is their best player, so I'm not surprised that he bagged the hat trick. I think one of the goals were a penalty kick. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not surprised. But whatever they do, we're still gonna mess them up. In our next.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we've won them. We've had 3 encounters. We've won 2, drawn 1. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the one we drew unfortunately was in the Premier League.
Yeah, where they had a
So
red card, Caicedo.
yeah, so we're going to. Is it Stamford Bridge we're going to now?
No, Emirates. They're going to come to the Emirates
So they
in
were.
March.
Yeah, but when Caicedo got the red card, was it okay? It was at Stamford
Yeah,
Bridge.
the Stamford Bridge 1-1.
Yeah, it was at
Yeah.
Stamford Bridge. So they are coming to Emirates. Sure win. Next.
Yeah. The next game was Wrexham versus Ipswich. Wrexham is a team that's had like a fairy tale. Just 4 seasons ago, they were in the National League. They came to League Two, came to League One, and now they're in the Championship in 8th place. And they have already also qualified. I heard they also give their manager Parkinson the job for life. What's your thought on that kind of deal? Because it has never been done in football when you give a coach a job for life. Do you think it's something that is well deserved based on the way he has progressed them?
I mean, I don't know about for life. I think a long-term contract is the best that I've seen. I don't know what the arrangement is when you've given a deal for life. What does that mean? Does that mean that when you have a wrong or terrible season that
You can never be sacked. I don't know. It's
or,
crazy,
or
but yeah.
you have a payoff if that happens, that you have a standard payoff if but I don't know about anything about the intricacies of the contract. But I think he's done well. I think he's done amazing. Ipswich Town was a Premier League team last year, and for them to defeat them, it shows that they are doing something right. They are in the upwards trajectory, and hopefully, they play a big team in the Premier League in the next round, and we'll get the chance to study them, see how much they've improved. Their new owner is also very, very in tune with the club. Very passionate
Yeah.
guy.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Yeah, when you have an owner who is invested, who takes it personal,
Yeah. Like Ibrahimovic back in the day, yeah.
you're going to see success, bro. Not the Northampton Nottingham Forest. That one is just that one is just a control freak. But when
Yeah,
someone is
my
really passionate
Marquis.
about they're going to do what it takes to win, and that's what's happening. It's just clear that when an owner is invested in the team, there's only one result that's most likely gonna happen, and that's winning. And they're
Awesome.
obviously in the right trajectory.
Yeah,
Something similar
very.
to right now with Fabregas and Henry and the rest. So you could see how many are
Mm-hmm.
in the Serie A.
True. And the next one was Bolton Albion versus West Ham. That was the game that went into extra time before Somerville came from the bench and scored the winner. That was actually Somerville's 6th goal in his last 7 games. What's your take on the form of that young lad, and do you think he's going to be at West Ham at the end of the season?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's hope they don't get relegated. The important thing is that they stay up. But once they are relegated, half of their squad will leave. Their left back will leave. That's the Senegalese guy.
Yeah, Diouf.
He
Yeah.
will leave. They will
But,
lose.
yeah, but someone like Bowen might stay. He's a West Ham guy, true and true.
Stay and play where the championship.
Yeah, but then again, but he's good enough to be in any Premier League team too, though. I'm sure he might
Yes,
need.
I don't think that's let me tell you, I have not seen. Maybe I'm wrong. I've not seen any championship player represent a country like England in a World Cup. If they
Yeah.
relegate and he doesn't sign for bro, he's leaving. Like he's not going to make the world. So that I think, that's my own naive thinking. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I don't think. I think you will not leave guys that are performing on the. Do you know that right wing is full now? When you have
Mm-hmm.
Palmer, you have Saka, you have Noni, you have different guys.
Foden, you even have Foden too.
And you're telling me you're going to go for Naji. I think they have to succeed in the league, and if they don't, you better sign for Newcastle or Tottenham.
Bournemouth or something. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
Bournemouth. There's a lot of clubs that will go for him, no doubt. A lot.
Sure. Okay. So the next game was obviously the surprise of the FA Cup this round. Burnley losing at home to League One Mansfield. I saw the highlights of the game. It was quite interesting. Burnley, the team that is currently in the trenches, clearly they're going to go down with both potentially. But was it surprising seeing them lose to the one side?
I'm not surprised. Anything that has to do with Burnley and Leeds, I'm not surprised, bro. Those guys are going down, so I'm not surprised, my G. I'm really not surprised. Their form. This when you see this scores, it just tells you where they are in terms of their form, their performances. It's really been very disappointing. So I'm not surprised that they lost at home against Mansfield. So yeah, maybe this will leave them more time to focus on the league and see how much point they will come up with.
True.
That's if they
Okay.
succeed.
Yeah, so the next game was Man City Salford. Obviously, with the kind of squad they had, they had to do a lot of rotation. James Trafford came back in goal. John Stones played his first performance in quite a long time. I knew he got a nod in the right left back position. There were games for Rico Lewis, Nico Gonzalez, Tijani Reinders, and Mamouche were the striker. But they managed to get a 2-0 win. That was required. Game that they actually had a 10-0 win in the previous round.
Mhm.
But you could see that they had intentions of the Premier League and this kind of squad they rotated to play into the game against Salford. So what's your take on Man City, beating down our necks? I'm guessing from the way you have been talking, they'll go above us, right?
Yeah, I think they would. I pray they don't. But it's easier for you to make peace with it now than to have high hopes and shit goes down, shit hits the fan. Salford is my team. Salford. I lived in Salford for about 5 years or so. I
Oh,
lived in
wow.
Salford. Yeah, so when when I lived in Salford, I don't think nobody really knew Salford Football Club, but and then to see where they are right now, it's really impressive. They see this 2-0. The game was tough. I watched the game. The Man City
Yeah.
scored early, and Salford gave them a run for their money. They had to bring in the
Mhm.
big boys in the second half to be able to get the extra one goal.
Control the game. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. It was Salford give them a run for their money, and to add to the fact that they came to Etihad, it wasn't going to be an easy game for Salford. So for me, that was an impressive display for Salford, and I hope that next season, that they reinforce and come back even better.
Awesome. Okay, there's a Hawk Championship clash with Norwich playing against West Brom. Norwich got the victory. Norwich was a team that we used to know back in the day with less of Temu Puki and Todd Cantwell. But a whole lot
Fat
of
was
players
good
have.
fun.
Yeah, remember when we even sent McKean was there at some point that he also underperformed. But it was good to see them look on. The other team that played in Championship each other was Southampton. They beat Leicester 2-1.
Mhm, mhm.
We all know what Southampton played a role in the league campaign where we tried to win the Premier League, where they had that terrible 3-3 draw with them.
Yeah,
And of course, we had the Aston Villa versus Newcastle clash. Did you see the game when the
yeah.
goalkeeper had a red card?
Occupy is a very stupid boy. Don't worry, I don't like that. A very stupid boy. A very stupid boy. That boy. That boy is very stupid.
Oh my god, that was shocking, man. That was
Bro,
shocking.
bro.
Obviously, getting a red card at that point was going to make sure the game was going to,
And I don't know what he was arguing, bro. Like it's one on one is the red card. There's no way. What are
yeah,
you doing, bro?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
so these guys,
Unfortunate. Then of course there was the Liverpool Brighton. Brighton had beaten Man United away in the previous round, but they were not that lucky against Liverpool. So, any thoughts on that game?
now Liverpool is picking form little by little. They lost against Manchester City, but
Useless, useless, man.
they
Come
were
on.
they were both useless in that game. But man, that game, man. But Liverpool, they played well in this game actually against Brighton. Like they really, really outperformed Brighton, and they deserve the win. Gakpo, I don't know who else scored this.
Supposedly and Salah.
That shot back guy, man. That
No,
guy shot crazy.
it's pathetic. Yeah,
Salah's penalty. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, good game. They deserve the win. Brighton didn't have the answers.
Okay, then there was Birmingham Leeds that went all the way to penalties. That was a serious scare for Leeds United, but obviously their goalkeeper Lucas Perry was the hero on the night. And of course, what had penalty action when we play Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. It's just a lottery. It
Mm.
might be very good, and all that, but when you get to the shootout, just like Nigeria and Morocco, you see that
Mm.
sometimes you
Anything
might
can
just miss
happen.
out. Yeah. Then there was Grimsby Wolves. Did you see these pictures of the Grimsby pitch?
Yeah, we all saw the highlights, and kudos to Wolves. I think they scored in the last minute. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but this was a team that beat United. So if Wolverhampton getting the results means a lot. It means that they still have a fight, some fight in them. I don't see them not being relegated, but it's good to come up with a W for a change.
Yeah, but how would that spur them on for the game against us?
I mean, that will fill them with confidence that they can, deploy their strengths. They are very physical, and they are very defensive as well. They will still, you know, play the same defensive mindset. They're going to sit back. They're not going to come to play. They will want to have a draw in that game. They know they can't win the game, but they will want to play for a draw. What my ask is that we go first 30 minutes, score a goal, like load them with all our strength and might. And then if we want to, rest a bit in the last 10 minutes of the first half and then first 10 minutes of the second half, and then go again and secure the second goal, that would be preferred. If you don't score a goal in the first half, the level of panic might make us even draw a
Yeah,
whistle game. You don't want to panic. You want to go first whistle, first attack, first few attacks rather, score your goal, and then play your game. We have
awesome,
to win that
awesome.
game, and these guys are not trying to win; they are trying to frustrate you. Well, you see, the most difficult games to play this time around. It's not even the middle teams, or those guys really don't have much to play for. You see, those
Yeah,
guys are in the bottom three or bottom four. Those guys are the ones that you should be worried about. So
yeah.
I am confident we're going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park.
Okay, so our final slide basically we're talking about our next opponent. The last time we played against Wolves in the Millennium, Lewis Kelly had that terrible red card that Michael Oliver, I don't know for the life of me what he was thinking. But Calafiori managed to help us, score the only goal of the game. So what would be your potential XI for that match?
I mean, we don't know what's going on with Calafiori, so Hincapi is starting because he didn't play it in the game today.
Mhm.
There's a reason why Yuri Timber was left in London. Well, the game was in London today, but he left at home. So we're going
Mhm.
to go with our usual back five with Hincapi as the left. We're going to play Zubimendi. We're definitely going to play Rice. He didn't come in today. And Eze because Odegaard, his favorite man, his keeper, our captain, is not available. He's going to start Gyökeres. He's going to start Trossard on the left. He's going to start Saka on the right. That's Put your money in this lineup. I think that's what he's going to do. And exactly what he's going to do, bro.
Okay, as we get towards that time, we'll talk more on it, but that's just a high level overview. Okay, bro.
Yes,
So
sir.
Global Gunners podcast. What's the plan for the rest of the week?
With Global Guinness Sport, because I jumped on this, I didn't shoot today. But usually
Okay.
I do my preview 2 days before a game, and 15 or 30 minutes after a game, I go on a match reaction. And so I'm not sure when we're playing Wolves. Would it be on Saturday?
We were playing Wolves on Wednesday.
Oh, this Wednesday. So that means I
Yeah.
have to do a match review tomorrow. Yeah, and then match reaction on Wednesday after the game. And so yeah, that's it. For now, those are the things that we do for the glow. We're still a growing brand, and so we are trying to not overwhelm the viewers with so much right now. We're trying to just get them comfortable with what we're doing with the reviews and previews and the reactions, and then subsequently we tend to bring in some sort of match review after the reaction, like sort of discuss the game, that taking 24 hours to rest our brains in the case where we draw, lose, or win, not speak from a place of emotion, but speak facts. And so those are that's
Analytically, right?
and yeah, and analyze the game, void of serious emotion. But I hope there's not going to be more of bad news. I hope it's going to be good news and more excitement from now till May. Because, bro, we deserve where we are in the table. We are the best
True.
team in Europe, and we deserve not just a trophy. We deserve two big trophies. We've never won the Champions League. We've not won the Premier League since 22 years now. It's our
Mhm.
time. I don't think we will win the Premier League though, but I'm happy to be wrong this time.
Awesome, awesome. So thanks for everyone in the chat. Don't forget to follow us
Thank you.
on all of our Arsenal. And I've put this channel in the description, the Global Bonus Podcast. Maybe one of these days I'll be a guest as well. Would love to come around and you can have me. All right, man. So it's been real, man. Thanks for taking our time to be in today's pod, and I really love the analysis you gave.
Thank you.
I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to chatting with you in the future again. Okay, then, come on,
Exactly,
you guys.
absolutely. Come on, you Gunners, man. Thank you for having me, and see you